and unfortunately, as I explained yesterday, we've had 5 deaths. And I want to say this and ensure that Tasmanians are in the full knowledge of this. Unfortunately, I think that there will be more deaths to come in coming days, and we need to ready ourselves for that. We will get through this, but the only way that we will get through this is if we all work together. The actions that we've taken are unprecedented. I don't think any Premier ever in the history of this state has had to ask so many people to do so much to help us to get on top of this outbreak. I thank those people that have been doing the right thing, and I encourage those that have been flaunting the rules to do the right thing. The vast majority of Tasmanians have been, but we need all Tasmanians to get behind this. We need the North West Coast to get behind this. And so I ask you today to please follow the rules and do what you've been asked. In terms of yesterday and the closure of the 2 hospital sites, that's never been done before in 100 years. It is an extreme measure, but it's a measure that we have needed to take. I'm pleased that we've made a request to the federal government to provide further resources, and we will see an AUSMAT team, an Australian Medical Assistance team, key leaders supported by the ADF coming into the state over the course of this week that will help us to deliver the medical services that we need on the North West Coast, and the Minister can say more about those matters in a moment. I do want to point to the fact that whilst the vast majority of people have been doing the right thing, there are a number that haven't been. Over the break, there have been 114 people that have been advised to turn around or to leave their shack and go home. Since Good Friday, there have been 42 Tasmanians that have been charged, 28 of those that have been arrested and 14 that have been summoned and charged. Now, that is simply not good enough. The rules are clear. I don't think anybody in this state could argue that they don't know that we are in the grip of an outbreak of COVID-19, that we've been taking measures now over the last month to keep Tasmanians safe, to keep families safe. So I would ask Tasmanians to do the right thing, as difficult as that is. I also want to make the point that yesterday, in terms of the measures that we introduced, and it's something that was missed by the media, there will be around 1,000 staff, probably closer to 1,200, that will be quarantined. With their families, that will mean that we will have somewhere between, we expect, 4,000 and 5,000 people in the northwest that will be quarantined for the next 14 days. That is unprecedented. It is a significant ask of the North West Coast and the residents of the North West Coast. But I would ask that you work with us. I would ask that you take these necessary steps to ensure that we can control this outbreak, that we can get on top of it, and that we can ensure that we not only flatten the curve, but that we work to crush it. This outbreak is unfortunate. We need to understand how it's occurred, and there will be contact tracing and tracking that will occur to ensure that we can do this. But with the numbers of people that we have quarantined, the most important thing that people can do is to ensure that they stay at home with their families, that they follow the rules, and that they ensure that we can get on top of this. We don't want to see community transmission. I live in hope that that's not going to occur. But I think reasonably we would have to expect that at some stage that is going to bubble up. But we need to deal with this outbreak first. We need to ensure that the extreme measures that we put in place in terms of closing these 2 hospitals, in terms of asking 1,000 staff to quarantine with their families, around 4,000 to 5,000 Northwesterners to do this, they need to follow the rules. We need to ask you to work with us because we need to get on top of this. 1 death is too many, 5 is distressing, and unfortunately there will be more. But we need you to follow these rules and work with us. In terms of other matters, and again I'll make the point that it's the difficult decisions that we've made in terms of the additional restrictions on retail. I'm sorry for the people that today are not working. But please work with us through this. If we can lock down for 2 weeks, if we can all do the right thing over this period and get on top of this, then there is an opportunity for us to return and start to lift the additional restrictions that we put in place on the North West Coast. And I would ask all Tasmanians to support those people that you know on the North West Coast. This is difficult. There is an outbreak occurring there. They are the epicentre of our battle at the moment, and we need you to work with us. And if you know people on the North West Coast, encourage them, make contact with them, work with them, work with us to ensure that we can crush this, that we can get on top of it. It is important that we move with speed. It's important that we move with haste. And as we quarantine the staff and their families on the North West Coast, I would ask those people that are affected to do the right thing and to work with us. The police will continue with their vigilant approach. The North West Coast will continue to have special attention paid to it. Police will do their spot checks in terms of compliance on an ongoing basis. But it's important, and again, I'll make the point about social distancing, as I have done in recent press conferences. The best weapon that we have to beat this is to follow the rules, make sure that you appropriately socially distance, make sure that you take responsibility for your own health, your own life, but importantly for the lives of your family and the lives of our community. It is important that we get on top of this. I cannot stress that enough. But again, I do want to say before I hand over to the Health Minister, never before has a Premier ever had to ask a community to do this. I've got to admit the responsibility rests heavy on me in having to make these decisions. But I would ask that you work with us. This is the best way that we can get on top of this, that we can stop the spread of this insidious disease, and importantly that we can save lives. So if you've been asked to quarantine, please do so. Please ensure your family does it with you, and importantly, follow the rules, stay home and save lives, and we will all get through this together.